All right. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I was just doing a little bit of live streaming. I'm working on my software here. I'm back with kind of the old way that I used to do it. I've been wanting to. Dog just heard me talking, so he joined on. But anyways, I'm working on the update software, or not update software, new software for the live streaming. It looks better, and I've got new software that would allow me to switch between. Yeah, better, good. Allow me to switch between this camera and what I'm showing on screen. And ideally, I'd like to show you guys a lot of the stuff that I was going to be telling you about. But apparently, my laptop is like not able to handle it, and it just goes chunky as crazy. And so I think I need like an upgrade my computer or something. I've kind of been wanting to do that anyways to shoot at like 4K, and so my laptop is getting a little bit older. But anyways, apologize about that. Dog's trying to lick my hand. So anyways, I want to talk a little bit about kind of some new stuff as far as just things that I'm going to be working on soon, and also things that uh, I want to kind of maybe I'm looking into testing and reviewing things like that. And I pulled up everything on the browser. I had a nice, beautiful presentation laid out with links and all this stuff. And so you guys aren't going to be able to see it, unfortunately, but I want to tell you about it nonetheless. Now, everybody, of course, is always going to ask, we were just talking about it on RDF right before I went live, like, what about the Uniden R3 with arrows? What about a Uniden R3 with arrows? No, there's no news as far as a Uniden R3 with arrows, but something that could be fun depending on when you're watching this video. If you're watching maybe a replay or something, you could turn that into a drinking game. And so every time you see somebody in the chat, ask, hey, Vortex, what about an R3 with arrows? Any news with that? You could turn that into a drinking game or something that could be fun. I'm sitting here with my coffee because it's 11 o'clock in the morning, not 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but that could be something fun. So anyways, I wanted to go ahead and before we get into like the general chit chat, I want to share with you guys some things that I'm working on and some things that I've kind of just been eyeing and taking a look at. So with that said, the first thing, next week I want to work on my review for the Redenso RCM, the remote mount version. So I've been testing that for a while, comparing it to the R3 and the other remotes. Looking pretty good overall. I like it. I don't love it. All that kind of stuff. Some of the best BSM filtering you can get, period. Able to filter out like Hondas and Acuras and stuff. So that's kind of one of the coolest things about it. There's some things that I wish they would improve on, and I want to talk about all that kind of stuff in the review. But overall, it seems like a pretty good remote. And so, yeah, I plan on doing some videos about that. The next thing was discussing the MRCD and MRCT. So low-powered radar, that kind of stuff over in Europe, now showing up in New York. There's now reports of it showing up in Maryland as well. And there's also people are finding not just the MRCD, but the MRCT, T as in Tango. A little bit different than the MRCD. I'm still kind of learning about it, all that kind of stuff. The T seems to be more for tracking, so it can track multiple lanes, multiple cars, that kind of stuff. It seems like it's more advanced than MRCD. So I'm still learning about it, doing research. People are testing all that kind of stuff. But anyway, the link for the MRCT and MRCD stuff, that's in the video description as well. So I've got that. You can take a look at videos in our discussion and all that. It's on RDF. The next thing I want to talk about is the Escort Max CI. Speaking of remotes, Escort's M4 based remote. So kind of like the Max CI, but instead of the M3 based thing, the M7 or whatever they're calling it now, it's an M4 like the IX CI or 9500 IX, things like that. So that's now on Escort's website. Looks like you can go and buy it. I got the toys for the dog. So yeah, that's up there. So I guess I just wanted to mention that. The next thing, the Whistler CR95. We've been wondering about, hey, what about the new Whistler radar detectors? So the CR97 looks like it's going to be the replacement or the successor to the CR93. Hey, what's up, Sarge? Hey, what's up? Good to see you, Jag42 as well. So the new Whistler, the CR95 is now on their website. The 97 is not. The 95 is the one without the GPS, it looks like. So that's now on Whistler's website, but the CR97 with GPS is not there yet. If you want to go take a look, I've got that link in the video description. It looks like, so from what Mike had told me at CES or SEMA or whatever it was that it's supposed to be more sensitive on K-band and KA, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dB, something like that. I forget the exact numbers, but basically increased sensitivity, so we should be getting better range. I don't think there's any difference in features. It's just more range, which is good because those detectors kind of need that. So you can take a look at that now. Now switching over real quick to dash cams. One that I'm really interested in testing and I've got incoming is the VFO A129. That is, for you guys familiar with the A119s, this is based on that same thing. They redesigned the case, and it's a dual channel one, so front and rear. Plus, they're adding Wi-Fi, so it's got Wi-Fi in addition to the LCD screen. Plus, they're also, last I saw, it was a beta firmware. If you get a special hardwire cable, they're going to be allowing it to automatically switch between driving mode and parking mode, which should be really interesting. The current VFOs, they're great for driving, but they don't auto switch between driving and parking. And so I see them more as like driving. This new firmware that's in development right now, they should be good for both driving and for parking mode. It retails for 169 with the GPS, 159 without the GPS. So if you don't want to spend several $100s for something like a ThinkWare or a Blackview or a DoD or whatever, you can get a lot of that same functionality and still good video quality at a lower price point. And that's kind of what makes this interesting. I want to do some testing with the A119, A119S, and the A119 Pro, all of which I have currently, but I've been those are on the back burner until I finish some other Dashcam stuff, which I'm kind of wrapping up now. So that combined with the A129, which I have incoming, are kind of some that I'm really interested in. You can order them now on VFO's website. I did that with the A119 Pro, and it got shipped from Singapore or something and took several weeks to arrive. So it's kind of slow, but you can get them. On Amazon, I've got, looks like, what is it, in stock June 27th. So end of the month, basically, they should be available if you want to order from Amazon. So that's available. I've got links to that in the video description too. For any of you guys familiar with the A119, it seems like it's based on the A119S, so 1080p front and rear. But anyways, that's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on, I think. I think it's going to be pretty popular. Another one, a lot of you guys have been asking me about the Owl Cam. That's a dash cam that's kind of designed to be like a security camera for your car, more so than just a traditional dash cam that records when you drive. It records, of course, when you're driving, things like that. But it's really geared towards like security stuff. And so it plugs into your OBD2 port for power. And then it's got all the stuff where like it records in case you drive, if somebody, or when you're parked, if somebody hits your car, it can light up lights in your cabin as like a security light or something. It can connect over LTE to give you real-time notifications to your car, upload things to the cloud. The main thing about it is they've been doing a ton of marketing. And so a lot of you guys have been seeing their ads. I've been seeing them too on Instagram and whatever. And you guys have been asking me about it. So that's one to take a look at. I've been doing some reading on it, just reviews and stuff since it's out now. And it seems like it's pretty good, but something people have been talking about, things linked in the video description, the review and these other ones. There's another one called the Raven dash cam. It's similar to the Owl Cam. It kind of sits in your dash or something. And also it's kind of more of like a security thing. It can record when you drive. It can automatically upload to the cloud. I don't even know if it has a memory card slot built in. I think it does, but the idea is like you can wave your hand in front of the dash cam and that will trigger it automatically uploading to the cloud or to your phone. So if you're driving and you see something interesting happen on the road, you can just go like this. That video while you drive will get uploaded to your phone 20 seconds before and after, I think. And then you go home. You don't have to worry about memory cards. You've got the video on your phone. You can copy it to your computer or upload to YouTube or whatever. Kind of a cool idea. The review, again, the one that I've read is just like, oh, it has longer record times when you're parked, a lot more features for the money. So that seems to be another interesting one to take a look at. So again, this isn't stuff that I myself have reviewed. It's just kind of things that I've been taking a look at online and just kind of interesting things that are out there, So new radar detectors and also dash cams and different ways of powering the stuff and just kind of tech in general. So those are just kind of some of the things that I've been looking at recently. I apologize again. I wanted to have everything set up here with being able to show you all the stuff while I'm talking. But as you guys know, my computer apparently sucks for that. Gets super laggy and chunky and locks up and freezes. And so apparently not quite fast enough. So I don't know if I need it'd be nice if I can just get like some USB hardware encoder to plug in to offload the encoding for video. That would be kind of cool. Maybe save me from having to upgrade my computer altogether, but that would be nice considering how much video I do. But anyways, all those links are down in the video description. So those are just kind of some of the things that I've been taking a look at myself online. I'm kind of curious to hear from you guys what sort of things that you've been looking into. Here we go. Here's an interesting one. What are your thoughts on using an app for a dash cam on a cell phone? I don't really like the idea. There's a couple apps that do that where you can use your phone as a dash cam, which is nice because these things already have nice cameras and stuff. The iPhones, for example, we don't have memory cards built in, so it's really easy to fill up your card. My personal phone mount, there's a lot of vibrations. I've tried it sometimes, and there's just so many vibrations that the video footage looks awful. I've actually been wanting to try this with the Blackview 4K. I've got the GoPro Hero 6, which also shoots in 4K, and the iPhone 8, which also shoots in 4K. So I've been looking for like a good mount for this so I can compare all three cameras to see how they compare. But I haven't found a good, like, sturdy, solid mounting solution. If you guys know of one that is like really solid, let me know. Maybe in the comment area or something. Let me know about like a really good solid phone mount that you've used yourself and is like, again, it has to be rock solid. I've got a bunch of phone mounts, but I need something specifically for this. Um, so let me know if you know of something. But yeah, so that's kind of some of the issues. Some of the apps I've looked at, they seem a little cheap. Some of them can work. I guess it's an idea if you don't want to get a dedicated dash cam, but it's so nice having something dedicated so you can have your phone doing something else like Google Maps or music or, actually phone in the background or whatever else. Use your phone for something else, Spotify. I think that's more useful than having it like dedicated to being a dash cam when it's so much easier to actually get a dedicated dash cam and they're kind of cheap now. Um, it just seems like kind of the way to go. But yeah, you could do it. It doesn't seem like it's a super exciting prospect from what I've seen. So let's see. New laser jammer. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. The new TMG laser jammer. Yeah, not really any news about it. Let's see. He did more. So let's see. Hang tight for the new TMG laser jammer. I did more Dragon testing yesterday. So yeah, a lot of the other guys on the forums have been doing testing. I don't personally have that one, so it's up to you guys like Sarge or Jag who have been doing some testing to share whatever you guys like, and all the stuff I know is on the forums as available. Let's see. Okay, Napster 6. A while back, you mentioned in a video that MRCD detection was not possible to do via an update. Or were we wrong about what was included in the hardware of the R3 and the R1? Yeah, that's an interesting one. So if you look at the Redline, the North American one, they had to do a physical hardware change in order to detect the MRCD. We had the Redline Pro A, Redline International. With the Redenso Pro and the Redenso Pro SE, they had to do a hardware change to get the Redenso Pro M to detect the MRCD and MRCT. And following the same logic, we would need a hardware update for the Uniden R3, and that's what I thought the case would be. It turns out they're able to do it with the existing hardware. My guess, just kind of looking at that, is like, well, their hardware out of the gate must be a lot more sophisticated than what Escort had, for example, with the Redline, which is kind of like a 10-year-old platform or something at this point. Whereas the R3, it's a much newer detector and it's got more processing power. And so it must already out of the gate have the ability to detect it because, yeah, they can already detect the MRCD. And in beta testing, it seems to be doing a good job so far. So yeah, I thought that they would require a hardware update, but it turns out Uniden is able to do it with the existing R3 platform. So for you guys who have an R1 or an R3 and are looking for MRCD detection, yeah, it's a software update available or away on your existing detector, which is awesome. I don't think I've ever actually seen that before for a company to just be like, here's a free update for your existing detector to add MRCD detection capabilities. Like, that's kind of awesome. That's kind of a first. So yeah, it's for the existing detector, and you aren't going to have to pay more to get a new detector just to add this new feature. So that's something pretty cool. Let's see. K-band segmentation. Yep. Some people want it. R3 and R3. A lot of detectors have it already. Usually, band segmentation is best for Ka band because Ka band is so wide and you really only need small ranges of frequency, whereas K band, it's already a narrow range of frequency and police are scanning all over. And people have been talking, what if we do that to filter out Hondas and Unidens? What if we notch out 24.195 to 24.205 or something? That could be an option. And there's reasons why you may want to do it, but it's a lot riskier than Ka band. So there's options for K band narrow and stuff. But yeah, usually band segmentation is for Ka band, not on K band, and for good reason. Let's see. Took the chance. Talking about the R3, I swapped from the Valentine 1 because I drove through Virginia. Works perfectly. Passed several cops without them knowing. Yeah. It's interesting. So there's only like 2 counties from what I understand. I've got notes for this for an upcoming video. Apparently there's only 2 counties from what I've heard from others where like RDD stuff is really heavily enforced and they go like anti-lasers. Where's my notes? Fairfax and Loudoun County. Those seem to be the places where they're like really actively kind of going after radar detector users and that kind of stuff, but elsewhere, not so much. I know people who have run a V1 in Virginia for years without issue, which is kind of surprising, And you're like, don't they have RDDs and stuff? And you're like, well, yeah, but apparently not everywhere in Virginia. Again, I'm going by kind of other people's information. I don't live or drive there. I'm just kind of going by what I hear from you guys. But evidently, it's not something that they use everywhere. And so surprisingly, even people with detectable detectors are driving there, and depending on where they are, they don't have any issues. So fun fact, I suppose. But yeah, R3, okay. Firmware 1.38. Yes, there's more features. No, I don't have any additional information for you at this time. There is some other stuff posted on RDF. You can go take a look where there's more information that's been released, but I'm kind of holding off on releasing everything until the firmware is officially released, just in case anything changes, they add or remove something. And so I'm kind of waiting until we have the full release, but there is some beta discussion about some other features, just to filtering, things like that, besides just the MRCD. And yes, it's not just MRCD and a couple like minor things. There are some pretty awesome changes besides the MRCD stuff coming. So yeah. How many ALP heads to put on your 2018 Camry? Depends on where you drive. Car like that, probably a good idea to get 3. You may be able to get away with 2. 3 heads up front is usually the way to go. If you want rear heads, 2. 3 if you're counting the Dragon Eye. I've got all that stuff on my website. If you go to my website, vortexradar.com, and slide or scroll down to the anti-laser priority section, this is for you, Omar. There's a section as far as like how to set up and configure your ALP, kind of the setup guide, and it goes over how many heads you need depending on where you drive and what kind of car you drive, but minimum 2. 3 would be optimal per side. So that's kind of your standard rule of thumb for your traditional sedan size vehicles. And if you guys are wondering, I drive a Mini Cooper or whatever, just take a look at the website and I go over all that stuff depending on the size and location. So yeah. Momo3369, biggest RDD down in Georgia is with state troopers for trucks. Yeah, some places will use it. I know in Texas they do that as well. They do use RDDs in places even where radar detectors are legal, because across the entire country they are illegal in like commercial vehicles and stuff, and so they will sometimes use them to find radar detectors in truckers. It's funny, the Beltronics Magnum, it's been discontinued now, but I remember people talking about how you can find them in you find them in truck stops like Love's and whatever. And the Magnum was a super popular detector for the fact that it's RDD immune. There are other detectors now that are also RDD immune that have better filtering and stuff. But this is kind of from years ago. Yeah, it's been a popular detector because it's RDD immune, and that's a feature that's especially nice for truckers. So yeah, fun fact. Thanks, David, for supporting me on Patreon. Yeah, so the walls are empty. It's funny. I'd originally set up, my desk is over here, and I originally had the camera pointed this way, and it had my entire living room and all this kind of stuff, and I've got a friend coming over, so I got to head over in a bit. So our place is like especially clean, and I was like, oh, that's nice. The house is clean. Can do a video. But I was like, I don't know, just for privacy, I kind of like having things simpler. I am in the process of moving pretty soon. We're buying a house. We're going to be moving in September sometime, and I'm actually wanting to like set up a whole indoor studio, like an office inside, and I want to get stuff on the walls as far as like maybe a YouTube thing or something about radar detectors, or I don't know. I want to like decorate the walls and have a studio with my lights and cameras and all the setup, so I don't always just have to go to the car, and I can have like a really nice studio with stuff indoors, which would be really nice. So in case it's raining or whatever, that is something I want to do. But yeah, I'm not a huge decorator. So we're actually, when we move to our house, we've got a friend who's good at that stuff. And we're like, can you come help us decorate and do all that stuff? So that'll be great, because otherwise, yeah, our walls are pretty bare. We have one thing on the wall there and a calendar over there, but that's kind of about it. So yeah. Send me a Longhorn head for my wall. Thanks, Sarge. Yes. Go Texas. Let's see. Was it hard for you to install your ALP in your Mazda by Long Li? Actually, yeah. My last car, a Hyundai Sonata, it was easier. My Miata, I wanted to do it myself. The tricky part was figuring out how do I get through the convertible top in the background. I wound up cutting up my hands pretty good trying to get back there. So I wound up having a pro who ran the wires. I installed the rear radar detector head for the RCM recently, and it was nice to be able to figure out where he ran the wires, and so I just followed those. But one of the trickiest things was my grill doesn't have slots where I can just stick laser jammer heads inside. He actually had to like pull off the bumper and cut holes in my grill and figure out how to mount everything. And So it was kind of a pain to get the front laser jammer heads. And then for the rear ones, there wasn't a place, like a good place to mount the heads. So he actually fabricated a custom mount out of aluminum to mount them, which is pretty nice solution. Like I don't have the physical cutting expertise or whatever the word is to like make that kind of stuff. I do more electronics, but I don't do so much of like the mechanical stuff, you know? So it was nice to have somebody else help me create all that stuff. So I had a professional do it for me, even though I did it myself on my last car, you know? So it depends on the car. Yeah, and then somebody else was asking about how my Miata does with Dragon Eye. Jammed a gun front and rear with two heads, which was kind of nice. For bigger cars, three heads are the way to go. But on a smaller car, it's nice to be able to get away with two heads. So yeah. Armor. What do you think about the Rexing V1 third gen versus the A119? I haven't tested any Rexings myself, to be honest. They looked kind of cheap. I never got around. I think the closest I did was like a Street Guardian, the SG3996 or whatever the heck their thing is, like an older Gen 1. I haven't tested a Rexing. The A119 seemed to be kind of one of the go-to picks just from all the reviews of people who are like even more into dash cams quite a bit more than I am. They seem to kind of tend to lean towards the VFO ones, and it's the same thing I see on like Dashcam Talk and different forums. People tend to lean to the A119s, and so I'm kind of going off their thing and spending more time focusing on the A119 series dash cams instead of the Rexing ones. And so just based off that, that seems to be kind of what I would say. I'm, again, kind of going by other people's stuff on that one. There's a zillion and a half dash cams, and there's no way I can test all of them. So based on what I've seen from other people, that seems to be the way to go. Unit in 1.38, no idea as far as the ETA. Depends on if they want to do some more updates, changes requested in the current beta firmware. And so that stuff takes time for it to all be like fully developed and whatnot. Do you plan on testing the Vantrue X3 Wi-Fi? I thought about it. I've gotten emailed by two different people on separate occasions from Vantrue wanting me to test some of their new dash cams. One of the ones I'm interested in is like the Lyft or Uber dash cam, the one that kind of focuses in the cabin. That's something new. I haven't done one like that before. That could be something cool just to test that. It's on my list of something to test, but there's just so many dash cams to test. And honestly, I don't really like testing dash cams that much because they take a ton of time. And I kind of focus on those when there's not a lot of radar detector or laser jammer stuff to do. The dash cams sort of like fill the gap because there's so many other people that do dash cams. And there's not a lot of other people that do radar detector stuff. And so I feel like I can offer more that's not already being done if I focus on the radar detectors. Plus, quite honestly, I just love the radar detector stuff, and the dash cam, I kind of like it. So I focus a lot more on the radar detector stuff, and I'm not super gung-ho about like testing a bunch of different dash cams. So yeah. Is it common to get R1, R3 laser falses? I've heard one or two people in the forums who've reported that. Yeah, the R3 laser falses, I don't know what's up with that. I've never seen a single one myself. I asked my contact at Uniden, and I was like, hey, you know, a bunch of people are reporting laser falses in the R1 and the R3. And they sent him a list of like, you know, forum threads. You guys have been mentioning it here on YouTube. It's funny, he hasn't seen him either, which kind of makes it a little bit tougher for us to troubleshoot and figure out why are people seeing this. Is it your phone? Is it the sun? People have reported seeing it even at night when there's no sun at their phone on the windshield. So that's not the only possibilities, but it does seem to be one possibility. So it's tough to figure out exactly why. And we can always say, hey, you just turn off laser detection and rely on your jammers and whatnot. Yeah, Brian's saying he gets R3 laser falses from his Galaxy S7. Jag, you're saying you see them from LED taillights. So there's different sources. I remember LED taillights and like laser cruise control. I used to see that on my Blinder HP905 jammers. So there's different sources of laser, if you will, that can cause a false on the detector. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what causes it and a reliable way to prevent them from happening. But it seems to be like phones and yeah, sometimes taillights and stuff can be some of the biggest culprits so far. So yeah. Brian Gutzman, any thoughts on if Beltronics will survive? I guess we'll have to see. You know, they had the GT360. Are they going to come out with more stuff? Is it going to be a different brand? They'll do like Escort, Beltronics making lately. And there's been some discussion as far as their like the new execs that they're bringing on board. And anyway, interesting discussion. Sarge, you could talk about that, I guess. But yeah, an Escort discussion. That's an interesting one. Let's see. You guys, okay, so more talking about the R3 laser falses. Video of Cadillac LEDs making my R3 go nuts. Got a laser false from parking spot facing a wall. Voltage fluctuation, could be. You have major bandwidth upload issues there. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Let me double check real quick and make sure my stuff backing up to the cloud is stopped. It should be. Let me just double check this real quick. My NAS, I guess speaking of which, while I'm doing this, I had a hardware or a hard drive failure a couple days ago. I've got a NAS with a couple drives, like 4 8 TB drives. And one of the drives I bought like 4 months ago was failing, so I had to get another drive put in. But anyways, my NAS backs up to the cloud. So all of my video terabyte per month while this is connecting. Okay, it's stopped. So the cloud stuff shouldn't be an issue right now. It's paused. But anyways, yeah, I've been wanting to do a video talking about the NAS as well. I got that stuff fixed, and I'm going to wind up having like spare hard drives and stuff. That's something I really, really like is the NAS. That's been super helpful. So maybe kind of another related video. Sean McCauley, what are your thoughts on a K40 laser jammer? Sarge, I said I want to ask about anything. I lied. JBV1 is tearing it up. Yeah. Any plans to do a video on JBV1? Yeah, at some point. I get asked about that quite a bit. It's been changing so much that I don't know. I've been wanting to do a video. Maybe I'll just do something with like, here's some of the cool features that it has available now. Like I know you saw I did a video on Escargot Drive or ThreatLink. I think it's called ThreatLink now. And that app has changed considerably since I originally did one. You know, I've several videos. It's evolved over time. And it may be a good idea just to like play with JBV1 for a bit and then just get familiar with it and be like, here's some of the cool features that it has now. John Boy is doing an awesome job with listening to feedback and releasing updates very regularly and adding new features and stuff. And so, okay, fine. The video will be out of date within a couple months. So what? But it's kind of cool just to share of like, here's some of the stuff that it has now with V1. And I know you mentioned in the forums, it's going to be compatible with the TMG laser jammer. So you can integrate your V1 with it. It's going to go through JBV1. So it could be a good idea to do that. But then that also brings in the whole can of worms is like, how does JBV1 compare to YaV1? And how does that compare to V1 driver? And I'm like, I guess that's kind of one of the things is there's so much cool stuff to test. And I only have so much time in a day that focusing on dash cams and laser jammers and radar detectors and how they compare and going out and do testing and comparisons and reviews and upgrading my camera gear and my NAS. And like, there's so much stuff for one person that I just don't have enough time in a day to combine that with sleep and everything else. And so I'm totally like open to like you guys, if you want to do videos and reviews and comparisons, like I know Jag, you're doing more now. Sarge, you're doing for more people to get involved and help create things is so helpful. I mean, I certainly can't do everything myself, but I would love to see more and more people getting on or getting into doing videos and testing like this. And yeah. So anyways, for you guys, if you have questions about the new TMG Alpha 15 laser jammer, ask Jag42 or Sarge. They are very actively involved. I know weatherproofing has been a big part of it. So ask about it in the chat. They can give you more information and better information. They're actually two of the people that I'm going to for information about the jammer. So if you have questions about the new laser jammer, ask in the chat right now, and they're going to be able to help you out. You guys can kind of take over for all the new laser jammer chat stuff. But yeah, it's raining out there. It is raining, yeah. Let's see. Julio, the issue with wireless is connection issues and bad weather. Prefer solid wires for reliability. Interesting. Bad weather being an issue. D3 front firewall, not hard to get through it. Okay, let's see. You still use hard drives? Yeah, absolutely. There's no way I can do stuff. My mic from several dash cams, like I can't upload everything to the cloud instantly. It takes time. So it's more of just like archival stuff to the cloud, and all my local stuff is done on the NAS hard drives. Yeah. So let's see. Questions, more fun stuff. Let's see, what do we have? 11:24. Anyways. All good? You guys get too wet? Not too much? Yeah, a little bit. Cool. Any testing for a low profile car? Overpass stuff. Yeah, so let's see. What are some other stuff? Okay, so that is done. Cool. Oh, so I'm curious also what you guys think as far as the video quality. I do have a new camera set up. It's like a Logitech Brio. It shoots in 4K ultimately. I think right now I'm uploading it at 1080p. Hopefully it's smooth and it looks good. It's got autofocus, which is nice as well. So if I want to like hold up a radar detector or something, it should be able to like focus on this automatically. I don't know if it worked with the YouTube live streaming stuff. The software that it has itself gives me more control of like framing, white balance adjustments, exposure, focus, all that. But I don't think the YouTube, I'm just using the generic like YouTube Go thing. Again, just trying like other software packages, but apparently my computer's not too happy about that. 480p with lag. Very stuttery, 4 to 5 frames a second. Man, let's quit this. That is a bummer. Keep cutting in and out. Yeah, it must just be my computer. I'm really sorry, guys. Maybe I'll have to find a better way. I can try live streaming from my phone or something. Okay, so I just closing other stuff. Let's see if this works better. Let me know if it like, that's kind of a bummer. I want everything to look really, really good. It's not a lag issue. Bandwidth is fine. I got 12 megabit up. Yeah, laptop's plugged in. I've got 12 megabit up, which should be fine for uploading speeds. We have gigabit here, but it's like $200-300 a month or something. So crazy. Man, that's depressing to see that awful lag right now. You guys are reporting that. Yeah. Sad face. That's a bummer. CPU utilization. Yeah, I'm checking all this stuff. Yeah, the only thing going right now is pretty much just this. Everything else is closed. It's just Firefox and this live streaming stuff. So close. So pretty much the only thing running on my computer right now is this. So it's weird. Maybe it's the new webcam as opposed to the one built into my MacBook. So YouTube. So man, that really bums me out. I always really, really want stuff to look good, and when it doesn't, I don't know. Maybe I should just like bite the bullet and get a new laptop and like, yeah. Anyways, that would be nice too, just to be able to upload videos faster and stuff when I'm doing different stuff in Final Cut. Yeah. And a new radar detector that will be coming up in mid 2018. Nothing that I can share currently beyond what's already. I did a video recently talking about like new and updated radar detectors. The only thing that's new that I haven't covered in that video is like the new Whistler. There's now information on Whistler's website for the CR95, kind of the successor to the CR88. That's interesting. Same thing, a little bit more sensitive on K-band and Ka. Cool. But other than that, nothing really new to share at this point. Yeah. Yeah. Bite the bullet and get a new laptop. Yeah, stuff is just so expensive. And wanting to upgrade everything. I mean, like everything to be able to shoot in 4K, new laptop, computer, like everything. It's just expensive, and then just with everything. So support me on Patreon, so I got money to buy a new laptop. But yeah. So blah. The internet would be a nice thing if that was faster too. Let's see, I hope Whistler comes out with an LNA DSP unit. They seem to be targeting more of the lower end budget detectors. I don't know how focused they are in coming up with like something crazy good performance. I would love to see them do that just with competition heating up. Uniden seems to be like more on the ball as far as like good budget detectors with good filtering. Yeah. So we'll see what Whistler does. I don't know. Here's an interesting one. Lance Moreland. What are the chances that we can get auto lockout in the R3 with the firmware update? Technically, very easy. The issue with doing that and why you don't see it on detectors like Redenso or even Valentine, they don't have GPS for a reason. And Mike V will be like, it could lock out legitimate alerts, which is true. But design your lockouts well. The real issue with that is Escort has a patent. They've licensed it out to some companies, but this looks like they don't want to license out automatic GPS lockouts. Manual lockouts, yes, you can do that, but auto lockouts, they're pretty much kind of holding that to themselves, which kind of makes sense because that's a really useful feature. Now, that patent will expire. I forget off the top of my head if it's like 2020, 2022, exactly when it is. I've talked about it before. I'd have to look it up, but I think we're a couple of years away, maybe 2-3 years, something like that, from the auto lockout patent expiring. And as soon as it does, I'm sure we're going to suddenly see very soon auto lockouts available in a firmware update for the Redenso Pro M and the Uniden R3. And maybe finally we'll see an updated V1 with GPS built in. And it's just patent and licensing and legal stuff more than a technical thing. And that's why you're not seeing that on the R3. So anyway, cool. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go. I need to get all my stuff here like torn down on my live streaming setup with my light. As you can see here, I've got set up and my microphone and all this kind of stuff. Just get everything set back up again and ready for my friend to come over. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm very sorry about the lag and the video quality. Been working on it. I'll have to work on it some more. Sorry it's taking me longer than I had hoped as well. Maybe I'll just have to buy a new computer or something and then suck it up and go for it. And it would be beneficial, but yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, thanks so much, guys. Hope you're having a great weekend, and I'll see you later.